Okay, so starting off here, I wanted to mention that, like, in terms of Switch games, I had already been planning on, like, I need to get the new Kirby. I'm probably gonna get the new Yoshi game, and a little something that a lot of people forgot about was that Ultimate Chicken Horse was announced, and I'm still totally ready for that. Plus a few other games on the eShop, like I think I missed Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Like a few things here and there, but oh my god. Going into the Nintendo Direct today, actually, if I can upload it today. Oh my, wow. Like, I was not expecting so much stuff. So, in order, I'll basically talk about everything, and I'll kind of like just mention stuff if I feel like it's not something that I was excited about personally, so I wouldn't really have much to talk about on the subject. So I guess that would leave us first with starting out with 3DS games, and personally, I'm running custom firmware on my 3DS, so, like, I don't know, like, I'm not super excited about a bunch of new 3DS games. Like, I went through a lot of games on there. It's a lot of fun, but like personally, when I saw that, I went, meh. But so they actually started out really strong. They started out with a WarioWare game. So basically, just like it contains a bunch of the old like WarioWare type titles. And to be honest, I haven't actually played any of the old WarioWare games, but I heard they were really good. And I heard they were made by the same people that did Rhythm Heaven, which were really fun games, in my opinion. So WarioWare Gold, when that came up, I was like, ooh, like I was excited. And then they showed like this really weird game, Dylan's Dead Heat Breakers. I've never heard anything about this Dylan character, but they played it off like he was a character everyone was supposed to know. Then they announced a Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, and then plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey, which kind of seemed like a little add-on like type thing for that, I guess. Then they came out with something really out of left field. I mean, personally, I'd seen this game a little bit beforehand, but like Detective Pikachu. It was weird. It was a weird thing for it to come up with. It's like Detective Pikachu, and it's like basically like a gruff kind of Pikachu, like doing detective work. It's kind of weird. It looks kind of fun. I might grab it. It also came with an amiibo, which itself doesn't look like super interesting, but I mean, hey, it's another amiibo. I know we're not all complaining. And then what came after that was super, absolutely, amazingly, like, dropping. And that was Luigi's Mansion for the 3DS. And I've been looking for a while for, like, a mod for the weird Luigi's Mansion game on the 3DS. Like, the one that wasn't really Luigi's Mansion, but kind of was at the same time. Like, the dumbed down version. Anyways, they said they're remaking the actual original GameCube version for the 3DS, and that got me super excited, because those like full-length, like full-feature games, like that's where I first played Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. Like it's a great platform to be playing those types of games on. I mean, it'd be cooler on the Switch, but you know, I'm not complaining. That's Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS. It's freaking awesome. Which was actually their last thing. So then they moved on to Nintendo Switch headlines, and they started talking about Kirby Star Allies, and basically, like, they said, oh, well, you can play as, like, some other characters in there, and personally, from an aesthetic standpoint, I really liked Meta Knight a lot. Like, I used to draw him all the time, and when I played Brawl, I used to play as Meta Knight for a while. Keep in mind, I wasn't very good, and I wasn't going to tournaments or anything. Like, just, it was more couch co-op fun, and I would play as Meta Knight all the time, and I didn't know he was broken, because I would always lose anyways, because I sucked. Anyways, so yeah, they announced that they're gonna, like, allow you to play as, like, certain characters in there, and that they'd be adding free updates as time went on to add more characters, like old returning characters to that roster, so that you can just play as those characters. Then they announced Okami HD, which I'm probably going to grab just because, I don't know, Okami looked good. I've never played it, so I don't really have too much to say on it. It's an HD remake. Sushi Striker, which was weird. I don't really want to talk about it too much because it wasn't anything that really caught my interest, but basically, like, you made sushi, and the person who made sushi faster like got to attack the other person with all their sushi or something and do damage. I don't know, I'm not doing it justice here. It looked kind of cool, but nothing that really interested me. Then they talked more about Octopath Traveler and actually gave it a release date, which I don't remember. But they announced Octopath Traveler, which looks really, really, really cool. I played a little bit of the demo, and it looks like pretty serious stuff. So if you're more looking for something to just jump into and be like, oh, whatever's going on, whatever, that doesn't really look like your type of game. But Octopath Traveler looks really good to me, and I'm pretty excited for it to come out. Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes. They basically announced that it had a multiplayer mode that they were alluding to a little bit beforehand, and that you could use like split Joy-Cons for it, but the most of the gameplay that they showed was top down, but it looked like it wouldn't, like, that would only be like maybe a seventh of the game, because there's like 7 bosses to fight, and like the game style changes before each boss fight and stuff. So that looked kind of cool. I might grab that depending on how well it does, how well people react to it. Then there's Dark Souls Remastered. Once again, I'm not going to be picking this up immediately because, for obvious reasons, like, there was that one game, I can't remember what it was called for the life of me, but it looked really cool, and it basically had you as like this kid roaming around and like looking at a bunch of stuff. Like, I don't really remember too much about what the game was supposed to be, mainly because I heard that it ran like crap. So that taught me not to like look and grab games really quickly, because I don't know, I don't want to be screwed over like some people were with that. Anyways, Dark Souls Remastered looks cool. Haven't played Dark Souls. I played Bloodborne. It was pretty fun, so I don't know, I'm up for it. They briefly mentioned the My Nintendo rewards, basically saying like if you don't know that you can use, like, when you buy a game you get like these gold point things that like are Nintendo currency or whatever, but you can use each singular gold coin as a cent. So if you like had a lot of them built up, you could use it as like a discount on your game or whatever. Then they came up with Mario Tennis Aces, and that was like one of the big hitters for me. Because like as soon as it hit, like they started talking about stuff that was like more complex than I thought, and then they also said, oh well, all this complex stuff doesn't technically matter because you can turn it off if you're like just playing with your family and you don't want to be like, you just want to play it as like a family friendly type thing. And then they announced that you can use the Joy-Con controllers basically like Wii remotes, which is also really nice because if you wanted to do multiplayer, like it feels like it would be right for that, which excites me because I used to have a ton of fun playing Wii Sports, and it's basically just the tennis minigame on that, but like a million times better is what it looks like. Also, the story mode looks really cool, basically like fighting all these bosses and stuff, like that looks awesome. So I'm excited for that. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker just came. Personally, I have a Wii U and I'm running custom firmware on it, so I have a lot of games, just because I like to keep them all on a hard drive. But Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, it's really, like, not a ton of people got to play it, so I think it's cool that it got a second life on the Switch. Like, personally, I'm not really against ports on the Switch, I especially from the Wii U era. I feel like it helps. Then came Undertale, which kind of just happened for some reason. I'm not opposed to it. I have it on my computer and I have it on my PS4 and Vita, but I'm probably going to end up buying it for the Switch, but just because I like to have a lot of my games on the Switch, and it seems like a nice place to keep a lot of games. so that like later when I want to go back for nostalgic reasons, I can be like, oh, my Switch has everything on it, and then I can play it on the go and do whatever. So I don't know, that sounds cool. Undertale is a good game. I mean, a lot of people will tell you, the fan base gets kind of bad, but if you ignore that, it's a really good game on its own. Then came out of absolutely nowhere again, Crash Bandicoot N. Sane Trilogy. So they're porting Crash Bandicoot to the Switch. Obviously, it doesn't look as good as it does on the PS4, which personally I like the Switch version better because I think on the PS4 it's like kind of intense with like the fur on Crash Bandicoot. I think it looks a lot better in the Switch version personally because it's more like cartoony. But it looks really fun. Like Crash Bandicoot, the first 3 games are like pretty solid for the most part. They're really fun experiences. It might just be my nostalgia talking, but I love those games, so I'm definitely gonna end up buying that. Then came a really, really strange looking horror game that I haven't heard of, but apparently it's been on other systems before. So you can check it out if you want to. It's called Little Nightmares. This is the complete edition, so it comes with all the like DLC that came out and all that good stuff. And then like that's, I don't know, it looked like you were like a little person running around this ginormous place with ginormous people, and it looked kind of cool. I might check it out, but I'm probably not going to end up buying that one just because I have a huge backlog of other games I have to buy. Like South Park Fractured But Whole, for example. I had been saying I wanted this on Switch for a little while, and now it's here. So that's pretty great. I already bought it on PS4 because I didn't ever see it coming to the Switch. I might return it so I can get the Switch version because, I mean, hey. But, I mean, all I'm really hoping for is that when they release Fractured But Whole, that they also release Stick of Truth. Because personally, I liked Stick of Truth better. I mean, from what I've played so far. So, I mean, hopefully, that'd be cool. Then they talked about Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, gave it a date. I don't really care too much about that, to be honest. I didn't feel like it needed to come to the Switch, because it wasn't like this amazing release or anything. It was like, it was a Warriors game. Plus, they already have Fire Emblem Warriors on here, and I feel like that one's doing pretty well on its own, and I don't know, I just didn't feel like we needed Hyrule Warriors. Then they announced that ARM is going to have a big tournament thing online, and all the winners get like the people who make it to finals all get like actual art from like the creators of ARMS, which is really cool. So it's like original ARMS art, and that's fucking awesome. Then they announced the Global Test Punch, so there's going to be another Global Test Punch. Once again, I don't remember the date because it's not here. It doesn't say right there. But, I mean, hey, super cool. Then they announced a Splatoon 2 update, which basically, like, it added X rank. So if you don't know, like, you can, once you get to a certain level playing in normal mode, you can play in ranked mode. And ranked mode basically just has like different match types that aren't just like Turf War. So you go online and you play those modes. And then what they added is they added X mode, or X rank, which supposedly does something too. I don't remember what it does. But it's really cool because, like, I don't know, there's some people who have like maxed out at S plus rank and they're like, I don't really have anywhere else to go. Here you go, X rank, just for you guys. So, yeah, they opened up X rank. I don't know, it might have some other cool benefits, but I don't really know at this point. Then they announced something that I am absolutely insanely excited about because I have no... I don't know, it's really cool. I've been actually waiting for this since Splatoon 2 was released, like since it was announced. Like I pre-ordered that, like that was the only Switch game I pre-ordered. I was absolutely ecstatic for it because I hadn't played the first one. I'm an artist, so I really like the style of that game. It's absolutely gorgeous. Like I love Octolings, And I was like, man, if only I could play as an Octoling. And I was like, okay, well, Splatoon 2, maybe it'll happen. And nothing was said about it, and then I was like, oh, well, this sucks. But then they just announced that they're doing the Octo expansion, which is basically their first paid DLC. It's like $20, which I could really care less about because I will pay any amount of money to Nintendo to give me an Octoling to play as. It gives you an entirely new single-player storyline, which I am absolutely hyped to play because it looks all like weird and like back alley type stuff. Like, I don't know, check it out. It's really cool looking. That just looks absolutely like a ton of fun to me because I really liked the single player campaign already, and I don't know, just more single player campaign is not a problem to me. Anyways, then they opened that up for pre-purchase in case you just wanted to buy it now. Personally, I'm gonna have to buy it later. And then they said, oh, well, that was all for today. And then the other guy went, oh, nope, that's not it. Not everything. It's like, oh, yeah, there's one more thing. And then, like, as an afterthought, as almost as it seemed, they announced the biggest thing, in my opinion, of the entire Direct, which has been, like, rummaging around the internet for absolutely ever. And that was Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch. That had me in a tizzy. I absolutely love Smash Bros. I got into it a lot with Brawl, and then I got my 3DS, and I saw that, hey, this game's on the 3DS, and I was like, wow, that sounds really cool. So I got Smash Bros. On the 3DS. I realized it was on the Wii U, and I was playing this game like almost religiously for a long time. And then I decided to go to a tournament. I got my ass whooped playing Melee for the first time because I hadn't played it before and I didn't know anything. And then that just made me really, really, really want to play it. So I got really into the competitive scene, playing like my Luigi and stuff. And like, I main two characters right now. I main Luigi and Bayonetta. Because if we're being completely honest, Bayonetta's a little overpowered. The reason I originally started playing her was because I love the Bayonetta games, which, speaking of which, I did get Bayonetta 1 and 2 for the Switch, like, as soon as it came out. So I was super excited that that character was in Smash, and I was like, great! And I started playing as Bayonetta for a while, and then I stayed with Bayonetta because I realized that she could do really cool things. And then, like, a lot of people left Bayonetta for, like, temporarily when she got nerfed. But I don't know. I just very much enjoy Bayonetta. Usually the only time I play Bayonetta though is when I need to when the person I'm playing against is getting way too annoyed and they're like, "Ah, Bayonetta's BS," so I play Luigi, and then they yell at me for playing Luigi, but I don't care at that point. I can understand being annoyed at Bayonetta, but not Luigi. Leave me my Luigi. Anyways, Super Smash Bros. For the Switch. Technically, they didn't announce whether it would be a port or its own full game, but personally, I'm leaning towards the port side, just because, I mean, it's fairly early, and, like, I don't know, we didn't really hear much about them making a new one. It also, like, looking at all the trailers for, like, all the like, first-time looks at all the old Smash games, like, it shows, like, the new style off, and then it shows that there's these characters that are fighting, and it's like, oh, well, it's this character and this character, and then it, like, shows newcomer, this guy, you know, whatever. This one, it only showed a quick little fight between two Inklings, which are the new character, and then, like, kind of everything went dark, and then the Inkling, like, looked into the sky, saw the Smash Ball, like, you could see the reflection in the Inkling's eye of the Smash Ball, and then, like, standing right in front of, like, this giant Smash Ball are, like, all the other characters, and the only real characters it zooms in on are Mario, which looks fairly normal, and then it zooms in on Link, who, if you looked closely, I'm pretty sure that's Breath of the Wild Link, so either, like, a new skin over the old Link, I think, but some people say it might be like an entirely new character on its own, in the same vein that Toon Link is different from Twilight Princess Link. So I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that it's like just the same character. I don't feel like we really need another Link, to be honest. But anyways, to me personally, I think it's a port, just because like it seems like it would take too long for them to make like an entirely new game by now. It feels like they're just putting an Inkling into the game now. Anyways, Inkling's here. That's really cool. That was one of the like 2 main characters I wanted in it. Like in the new one, the real characters I wanted were the Inklings and Shovel Knight, but Shovel Knight's more of a fever dream. It's not as likely. But yeah, that was really the last thing for the day, and I am just absolutely and utterly enthralled about Smash, the Splatoon 2, South Park's really cool, Mario Tennis Aces, Dark Souls, Octopath Traveler, Kirby Star Allies, Luigi's Mansion on 3DS, WarioWare Gold. Like, there was a lot of good stuff in here, and I am, like, all I know is I need to start saving up, because there is no way I'm going to be able to afford all of this stuff when it launches. Anyways, thanks for hanging around while I chatted about absolutely nothing, and have a nice day.